Okay. Tony, check. Okay. Yeah, I'll show you how I do this. Is this right? Did I do right? Maybe. Oh, wait, sorry. Turn the other way.
Okay.
The head face over here. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. Thank you. Okay. Okay. So, yeah. Okay, I'll show you here. So on the, I'm gonna show you how to do Naga Tuina. And it's a really spiritual kind of energy work on the body, but it's tuina on the body. So I don't know if you ever see tuina before. When you're learning tuina, you have to do like this kind of motions like this, and you gotta pat and you gotta pound. And if you ever got a Chinese massage, you never get one again because they're really uncomfortable and they're painful, and they don't seem like there's any energy work to them. And everybody want to go learn the tuina from the hospital type, and it's not so useful. This is a family system, so the family systems are really interesting. They have a lot of focuses in the body. So because it's called Naga Tuina, or it's called snake tuina, it's the snake or the naga is the serpent energy that comes through the spine. So when we're looking at the body, we're trying to figure out what's interfering with the smooth continuity of energy running up towards the top of the head. So we're basically training the Kundalini so that it has a smooth and clear passage, so that when it comes upward, it's not reckless. It's very intelligent, very clear, and so. This is also true with our Qigong. So when we do the Qigong, you'll always see that something is training the energy to move through the spine in such a way that each section of the spine gets to have such a dragon-like awareness that the energy can move smoothly and clearly up through it. So this would be another way to do it. Like one way is to do the Qigong, and then this way is to do the massage. So, okay. So first part is I'll show you some diagnostic. Like first part is what I do is I take the sheet and I put it like this. In China they don't care, they'll just grab your feet. But what I do is I put the feet so that I can grab the foot and I can feel the foot this way. Okay, so that's what I use the end cloth for. Yeah. So what I check first for is this part right here is the kidney channel right here. And when you're squeezing, the first squeeze, you feel this arch of the foot, and you're looking for the texture. If the texture is too soft or too hard, then something's wrong with the kidneys. Yeah, and nowadays people are drinking a lot of bubble drink and Coke, and it's not so much the caffeine, but there's some kind of sediment inside of the drinks and inside of some of the products that will cause a tearing feeling from here to here. It'll feel like the tendon is ripping when they walk, and that has to do with the kidneys too, but it also has to do with the sediment of what they're drinking or eating, and it actually settles down to the bottom of the foot. But squeezing from side to side like that, and squeezing the foot together to feel the texture along the arch. You can feel the condition of the tendon and the ligaments, and then you can feel the texture of the skin and also the temperature, and then that's going to tell you if there's kidney trouble. And this also represents the spine, so it gives you an idea what's happening with the spine. So if the spine's going to be cold or stiff or whatever it is. Yeah. So the next part is here. So I'm just picking different parts along the body, but you can read the whole body. So this point right here, it's one palm width from the ankle, tip of the ankle, right here. This is a spleen 6. This is where the kidney, liver, and spleen connect together. So this area right here is like a junction between the kidney, liver, and spleen. This also has to do, for psychologically, with confusion that comes from the heart, not the heart, confusion. Wait, let me make sure. Okay, since this is the liver, the spleen, and the kidney is related to fear kind of anxiety, and the liver is related to frustration and anger type of anxiety, and then spleen is related to confusion but also obsession of too much focus, like obsession, and confusion, contemplation, that type of anxiety when you're thinking too much. So all of these cross right here at the ankle. And so when you're feeling this area, sometimes it's really stiff, really cold, and start to feel the condition of these organs. And also if you're sensitive enough to feel the energy around this point. Okay? From the calf on the top this way, this shows a condition also of the spine. So if you find knots along here, then they'll be in the low back. If you find knots here, it'll be in the middle back, and up here the top of the back. So this will reflect knots in the back. So when you're squeezing the calf, if you ever got your calf squeezed, then you get a good sense of how sensitive it is. So you cannot just press. Even pressing lightly here is painful. So you have to grab the whole calf with your palm. You grab the calf with your palm, and then you squeeze with the base of your finger towards the tip of the finger. If you pinch with the tips of the finger, the calf massage is too painful. So this type of massage is too painful, where you put your whole hand over and then you squeeze slowly, like you're swallowing like a snake, huh? And you pull. Then this is a good massage on the calf. Putting the thumb into, especially this outside edge, is too painful. It's an irritating massage. So lightly diagnosing and then squeezing around here, while the other hand works this. Somebody squeeze your calf. Somebody has to actually massage your calf, and you'll figure it out real fast, like, whoa, back off. I don't know if you can tell by squeezing your own, but if you're on a table and then there's something flat on one side and somebody massaging, if somebody does it wrong, you never want them to touch your calf again. Even if they're offering, I'll give you a long, nice massage. No. So every place from here to here is sensitive. It needs to be massaged. Mostly you got to make contact with your palm first, and then the base of the finger, and then the tips of the finger. So it's like a snake bite, like that, and it pulls this way. Yeah. And then your fingers can feel for the knots. Yeah. But you also be able to diagnose the anxieties that come through the liver, the kidney, and the spleen, and those channels are on this side. Okay. So for the amount of impact that the body takes, which is kind of how people run their life, like if they're very rough or reckless in the engagements, yeah, like talking to people, talking to family, friends, it will show in the heel. So there's a calcaneus bone right here, and the calcaneus bone should be able to move like this. But when you grab just this ball part like this and squeeze it, and if that bone doesn't move, that means it's too stiff. And since that bone should be flexible, it's a shock absorber. So that means when you move through your life, it absorbs the shock and it makes everything run smooth of your skeletal body. Huh? When it doesn't absorb the shock and it doesn't seem to move, you're going to grab it and try to peel it a little bit the same way. Grab it and peel it away from the body and stretch it to make sure the calcaneus will eventually be able to move smoothly. So you're trying to create space. But if there's no space here, the low back will take shock when you walk, and the neck will take shock when you walk. So if you just imagining somebody's walking through the, walking along the sidewalk with no, even with shoes or no shoes, if this heel cannot flex, then they're going to end up taking this shock every time they walk, and the shock is going to, like mechanically go to the low back and go to the neck. So that will cause more problems, more stress, more anxiety for the body. And so already from just the foot and the leg, you're going to get an idea like how people deal with their stress, how the person deals with their stress, and how much stress is built up there, and then what you need to do when you get up this way.
This is for not just physical.
Yeah, it's not just physical, Trina. Yeah, it's both. And also, when we get angry or we get sad and we cannot control what's coming up in our body, that's also related to Kundalini, and it's related to the way we learn it from our parents. So everybody has these triggers that can release this serpent energy, and a lot of times we learn it from our parents, and they cannot control themselves, so they start ranting. They might be angry or sad or upset, but they start to rant, and we can't stop them, and then they can't stop themselves, and that's what rises up the spine there. So kind of gives you a really good base. This is the base diagnosis here of what's happening there. So I spend some time here, and then I spend time here, and then you get to know the people pretty well, more than maybe their friends and family, just from touching here. And you get a good idea of what you're gonna find when you get to the low back and the neck. And so already from here you can tell what you're gonna run into. So the calf is very full of energy, and we use our calf to run away from things. In the jungle days, we run away, we jump. It makes us antsy, like ready to spring away, and I don't know what they call that, ready to bolt. So this holds a lot of energy. And put your palm over here, and the first part on this side, this is the gallbladder channels, especially the gallbladder channels. So this is what kind of interfere with your control or your decisions about what you want to do. So we realize if we're just by ourselves, that when we have to decide what we want to do, it's really easy. We just make our plan, and then we just execute the plan, and it's really smooth. But when you have other people involved, you cannot just make decision, because they'll come in and make another decision. You have to reevaluate, and you gotta figure out again what you're gonna do. So it can be as easy as somebody catching a ride with you and stopping to talk to their friend, and then, can we stop and get this certain thing from this store? And then you might be thinking, I was gonna pick up the laundry, but I guess I'll do it another time. And then you have to kind of reevaluate your scheduling, and you're shuffling your schedule as you're trying to accommodate. And that's what we have to do every day. But it interferes with the gallbladder, because it's making you second guess yourself, and it's making you hesitate rather than just flow. So that happens to everybody every day, but that's what's going to affect this part here. So I use a cloth for a grip. What I do is I put a cloth over like this, and it gives me more grip, especially cotton cloth. So I put one hand over the calf, and then I'm gonna feel this area all the way down, and at these angles it gives you a really good leverage to the body. Like what I do is I pull this way and push, and put my hand here for the energy flow. So it's gonna be running energy up this way. It's gonna be breaking up the energy that's blocked in here or stagnant in here. And I use the foot connected to the ground, and I push from my hip socket. I push through my thigh and through the knee, and then through the ground. And if here from the shoulder, I push from my shoulder blade and I stretch outward. And that's what gives me the leverage. So it's different from putting your body weight. You know, like in massage, they tell you to put your body weight down like this. If you put your body weight like this, you end up pinching the muscle. So especially here, if I put my body weight down like this, I'll end up smashing her knee into the ground. So if you're pushing, extending like this, you're not putting your body weight down on them and leaning on them. You're actually stretching through them. So that's two different attitudes. Like one, if you just collapse over the person, then it's a different kind of feeling and different frequency, different attitude. But if you're yawning through them like that, it's completely different feeling. It's stretching and releasing and expanding. So that's what's happening through here. So normally you might see somebody just leaning on the body, but we're actually pushing and extending the body, extending our own body. So we're peeling the muscle away from the bone. So all this area right here, I'm gonna be pushing away from.
You're feeling for tension.
Yeah, so when I push, it'll be just about where it catches some muscle, and then from there I extend. So first I take up the slack into the muscle, then I extend from my shoulder blade and I extend from my leg. So it's stretching that.
You don't think most runners would
Yeah,
be tight there?
yeah, it'll be tight here from stairs, bicycle, and lunging, any kind of lunging exercise. Yeah.
Those exercises are not good for the gallbladder then?
They're not good for the gallbladder. See, okay, if this, say somebody does bicycle, lunging, stairs, and they're running, yeah, this muscle's gonna get really strong on this side. And then, you see, there's a tendon right here. If you feel it on yourself, it's really strong. And it's supposed to be strong because it's stabilizing. So this part right here gets really tight, but it'll pull really hard here. And then it pulls here. So if you look at the way that legs grow, you'll see this tendon is coming down to here, and then it's attaching here. And you see how it pulls the leg out this way. Huh? Pull this leg, but your foot has to reach the ground, so it curves. So this natural pull that's already there, it's already under tension. It's pulling the leg actually out to the side, but then your feet has to touch the ground, so your leg will make a curve as a natural, to compensate. Yeah. So that's what makes our curve in our leg. But if this pulls and then this pulls here, and it pulls the leg out, then it's going to cause ripping and pulling right here. So unless we're doing an exercise where we're like grabbing something with our knees and squeezing together, doing something like that to compensate the muscle being developed on the outside, but otherwise will cause knee trouble. So when this pulls and this pulls and this pulls, then any movement you do with your knee is going to rub together and it'll cause friction inside the knee. So knee actually represents your fear of what's ahead of you. So if you have like a challenge, or you have a new business, or you have a new life, like you just get married, or you just move, or you just do something like that, and you're not sure what's ahead of you, when we're walking through our life, how fast you walk through to your challenges is what's inside your knee. But when you hesitate and your knees lock, that's when you're really afraid of what's in the future, and that'll cause the friction in the knee. But what causes in the ankle is a change of direction. Like, do I want to do this, or do I want to go here? Everything's kind of pushing me, or everybody's pushing me to do this, but I want to do this. Which one should I choose? And it's two completely different direction. That's gonna cause tension and trouble in the ankle.
So if you have like injury to
Yeah.
then that's
So
going to
tension, injuries will reflect those kind of stresses. Yeah. Because you see the tendons are already under tension, but if it's under a little bit more tension, it's gonna cause trouble. But then it's what we choose to do, huh? So, like if I decided, I should climb a mountain, then that urge is to climb the mountain. So I'm thinking, maybe I can push through it, push through something. I climb up a mountain, and it's gonna tighten up over here, yeah. So that urge will help, with the challenge I'm having, and then maybe I cannot make a decision clearly, and I want to, climb up this mountain. It's still related to the, like pushing through something, yeah, like deciding something or pushing through. So it can create more tension.
So don't climb the mountain.
I mean, it will all have to relate together, no matter what. It was gonna relate. Yeah. Otherwise, you wouldn't have an urge to run or jump, or bicycle or do something like that. You would want to do a different exercise, huh? So it's everything kind of relates together. It's really interesting. This is moving forward in your life or hesitating, or being afraid of what's ahead. This is changes of direction, and then your toes point you into like clear directions that you want to move. So if you're getting injuries in those places, it has to do with that. And this is a relationship and stability in the hip. So this is to loosen up and clear the energy that's stagnant in here, but also causes the tension. Yeah. So when you're moving down towards the thigh right here, if you ever got massages here, when you push over this way, the knee will get smashed into the table and also into the ground. So you have to be careful even here and here when you're putting pressure that the knee doesn't get smashed. Yeah. So sometimes if you put one hand under like this, already it will relieve the tension. And one hand under, if you cannot get quite a good grip on the leg, sometimes you just turn the leg a little bit like this and you'll suddenly get a good grip on the muscle, and then you can release it. But so having your hand under the shin or under the ankle is going to change the way that you can grip the body. So if you cannot catch it and you start getting frustrated, it's not a massage anymore. Body's gonna pick up the frustration, yeah. So especially like with this kind of massage or lomi lomi, if your state has to be like right in the moment and moving with the body. And if you're going ahead of yourself or behind yourself, it affects the whole nervous system in there. Yeah. And you'll see if you're ever getting a massage and the person just needs to check their cell phone or something, your whole body can tell. It's a really it's not that disturbing, but it's disturbing enough if you want to keep a clear state through the treatment. Yeah. So you can see the leaning is different. I wouldn't really need this foot. I'm kind of pushing outward through the ground and then pushing out through my shoulder. So if my shoulder is not pushing and my elbow's pushing, I'll start getting a shaking feeling in my arm and I'll start fatiguing. Yeah. If I'm extending from the shoulder blade, then there's no tension in my body. I just have to keep my arm straight. Then it's really easy. So in a normal type of massage, just regular American massage, they keep their weight off of their foot because the body weight can go straight through. So they might not take their foot away, but they'll just leave the weight off of their foot so that the weight goes here. So the more weight you put on your foot, the less pressure it goes to the body. So with your foot down, you don't get that much pressure. With your foot lifting off the ground, you get more body weight here than this foot. So this is replacing the foot. If this foot touches the ground, it's taking your weight. If the foot is not there, the body's taking your weight. Yeah. But this is just a little different. It's similar, but extending off of there. Yeah. Okay. So this kind of movement, you just have to take time, and this has usually a lot of tension inside. And tension loaded up in here is really the feeling of like I want to just fly, or I want to just flow, or I want to do things that I want to do, but I have to slow down because other people keep jumping in my way, or like they want to ride with me, or they want to do things with me. I can't just, do myself. And you see, a lot of people have this kind of stress, huh? So so you have to take your time opening up this area, because it's a popular area. Yeah. And then here. Oh, what? Oh, this is a family system. So normally, that's why I'm saying normally this is how you do, but this style we're using this way. So it's a different way of massaging the body. Because normally you do use body weight, huh? Yeah. So this is just it's really different system, because you need the energy flow, from your heart, and you need the energy flow through. So this muscle too, so when you feel this area, even if you just put your hand like this, you can feel the tension in the hamstrings. So these muscles in this part of the leg is your tenacity. So tenacity, or stubbornness, depending which side of the tenacity you're on. But tension in these muscles will put tension on the sides of the tailbone. So if I press the tailbone like this, is the tailbone triangle, that's the sacrum. If I press on the sides and I feel like, wow, it's kind of stiff, it doesn't flex, that means over here is stiff. And I flex over here, that means this area is stiff. If the lower corner of the triangle is stiff, it's the low back. So there's going to be these muscles in the 5 lumbar area right here that is going to make the tailbone stiff at the tip, the last half or third of the tailbone. But the sides are going to come from these muscles. So you can reevaluate, like say I move and I kind of stretch through these muscles, and I try to, if you notice, everything is not straight onto the body, and normally a massage like a shiatsu would be straight into the body. And you'll notice I always go into the body and then just off to the side. So I might press straight into the body, but you'll see the curve. It starts to curve too. So I push straight in, and then I start curving sideways and backward. So it's always forward, sideways, and back. Forward, sideways, backward at the same time. So it'll have this kind of a sphere shape. So when a sphere shape meets the muscle tries to resist, but it cannot, because we're moving in a sphere, and it has to release. So if something's moving this way and coming into the muscle, if the muscle resists, the muscle tension goes off to the side and exhausts itself. If you're pressing straight onto the body, for this philosophy, if you're pressing straight on the body will push back just as much as you're pushing against it. So you have to win. You got to push through it and just jam your way through, which is, that's a sound massage theory. This is just different theory. We always engage the muscle. So we engage the muscle straight on, we find the heart of the leg, and then we start pushing against it, but also to the side and also back. So it's just a little bit of a curve. Okay. So you'll feel the effect on the muscle is completely different. It will meet you and resist, and then all of a sudden it cannot resist anymore. Any resistance it gives you, your movement will take it and disperse it. There. So for the body, this is like counseling, like, oh, this person's all built up with this stagnant energy and they gotta release it. And if it becomes a conversation, if we're pushing directly on what they're pushing from, then it's like a fight, we're pushing and they're pushing, and it will be this kind of a frustrating resistance. And if we break through them, they might give up, for this philosophy. But if we engage with them, we engage with the muscle, and all this frustration is there, and we turn softly like this as we're still engaging, all that stuff that's inside of them will just come out. And as much as they push, it just disperse outward, and then I feel like, I feel better. I don't know, maybe we just drank tea, but I feel so much relief. And so that's what's happening to the energy in the muscle, loaded in the muscle, meeting the way that you're meeting that energy for this massage. So I know as I do the other kind of massages too, so the philosophy changes with the different massage. So when I'm near the knee, I gotta be careful because the knee can be pushed into the ground, and that's where there's more anxiety too, because it can be relaxing pushing here. But when you get towards bone, and the bone is so near the solid table, and you feel like, whoa, and then the fear comes more. Okay. So my hand's gonna be here while I'm pushing, so that I can feel what reacts against my hand. So if there's a lot of tension here, I'll feel it underneath my hand moving as I'm moving the muscle. Then I know, I gotta work here, I need to work here more. Okay, so. Okay. So in this, you can see there's so much give in the muscle. You just take up all of it first, and then you position your body, and then from that position, then you extend your shoulder out, and you extend your hip down. So first you take up the slack. First take up the slack, then extend. So the extending out the leg and extending out the shoulder gives you a pretty good stretching range. You just have to not waste it on engaging. So if I go like this, then already it's spent. I don't get the stretch. Okay. So this gets to evaluate the low back, and so we're gonna from the side. I'm gonna stretch into the side, so I'll show you here. I'm gonna stretch into the side this way, from the side, against the shape of the tailbone. So I'm gonna push like this, and take up the slack again, and then slowly stretch. So it's still from my hip I'm pushing out, and from my shoulder blade I'm pushing out. But first I take up the slack, then I push. And so you're just stretching to feel the tension in the hip. A lot of stabilizer muscles in the hip will give out during this time. So the stabilizer muscles relate to judgment, criticism, comparison in the body. A perfectionist, either victim of perfectionist, self-perfectionist, or other perfectionist, but that's gonna affect the stabilizing muscles. It'll lock up the stabilizing muscle, especially piriformis, gluteus medius, maximus, and adductors. Okay. So I push along from the tip of the tailbone side, up and up this way along the actual triangle part, and then just up a little bit higher like this, just to catch the corner of the tailbone. Okay. And so I have to kind of also still like here, I have to engage, I have to push against the muscle, but then I'm going to be moving in a curve from that contact. So once I get a snug contact, just a slight curve, then this is the slight curve part, and that's what's going to take away all the resistance. It's going to deal with the resistance of the body. So in a conversation, this would be kind of a really skillful conversation. It would engage the conversation, but slowly disperse it without giving any resistance. Just enough resistance to keep it interesting. Keep it interesting. Okay. So what I'm gonna do now is I find where the spine is, okay, and I find where the iliac crest is. There's these two bones that's here. Okay. And I want to feel first over the right side. So why I want to feel the right side around the iliac is I want to know what the gallbladder and the bile ducts feel like. Yeah? Because I'll know how long frustration is there, how long anger is here, how long it's here, resentment. So in this area right here, right above the iliac and just into the iliac, it will show you the condition of anger, which is motivation when it's fresh, and then when it rises, it's ignited, it's anger. When it's held, it's frustration, and when it's swallowed down, then it's resentment. And that's what it's going to feel like inside here. So it's not always just physical tension on the right side, especially is a condition of how we deal with our anger. Okay, so this is liver and gallbladder energy still, but it's also a very high spiritual frequency, just that when it gets stuck and it doesn't know how to deal with its things, it gets frustrated and it gets, gets really stagnant, but it actually is a really high vibration, and that's what makes the motivation. It makes smooth flowing happy energy through the whole body, or it makes sure nobody's happy. It'll make sure there's not one happy organ in the whole body if it's not happy. So that's always on the right side right here. Okay, so when I take my thumb, also I'm gonna find the corner of where the spine and the iliac meet, and I'm gonna press my thumb around, and there should be a hollow spot right here on both sides, and when the hollow spot is not there, the hip is out of position. So so I'm gonna engage the muscle again, and then I start to push from out of my hip and out of my shoulder blade, and then it makes a nice pressure. So this pressure is the same way we do our Qigong. Instead of pushing against the ground, we push through our knee and through the ground. So I have to push through my elbow and through the thumb. But if I create resistance where my thumb meets the body will create resistance against my thumb. So if we put our foot against the ground and we push against the ground, we deny the ground, or we reject the ground. So then the ground will reject us, and then we're not going to get that energy flow. So for the body, this is the same. You gotta kind of engage the muscle and then push through it, and not think about your thumb at all. Just that the energy is pushing right through the thumb, through the elbow, and then you can extend really far through there. Okay.
Pushing on the side of the spine?
Yeah, just on the side. So find the spine and just off to the side of the spine, and then this round part of the bone, the iliac, you're finding this pocket right here along the side. Yeah. So still I'm not pushing straight. I engage, then I push forward, sideways, backward. So if the pressure's here, instead of pushing straight down, I push forward, but also sideways and also backward, even if my hand's not moving. So if my thumb is here, instead of push straight down, I push straight, side a little bit and back a little bit from one position, side just a little bit sideways, and I create that. Even here when I push, my thumb's gonna be sliding this way, and I'm thinking the movement like this, forward, sideways, backward, against the muscle rather than straight. So even if my finger's not moving, I'm still thinking sideways because the resistance is still there. So I have to keep dispersing the resistance. So my pressure has to be down, but friction sideways and back. That way, if I hold this type of friction, as much resistance is coming at me will disperse off the side. But if I forget and I just push, it'll push back. The whole time I'm pushing, it'll push back against my thumb. So during this time, you either get resistance, like stubborn resistance back, or you can disperse it the whole time. Okay. Yeah. So for these, I have to. For this type of massage, I always have to make sure my table is the right height. Otherwise, I'll end up on my toes like this, or I'll end up with my shoulder up like this, or I'll end up leaning way down. So you have to kind of memorize what, how wide the body is. Yeah, like if Ko is on here, his body comes up to here. Yeah, so then I lower the table all the way down. So it's not really the height of the table, it's the height of the table plus the width of the body. Yeah. Okay. So, and you see, if I push like this and then I raise my shoulder, the energy will go this way. Yeah, go into my body. But if I engage and I lower my shoulder, the energy goes this way. So even physically looking at the body, this makes it's like a suction. You'll actually take that disease into your body. This way it will push into the body. Yeah? And this way too, if I kind of, I lean in like this, I'm crunching my hip, right? So if I crunch my hip and I go like this, all the energy goes, to here. But if I push out my hip, then it's dispersing out the ground. Yeah, that's a lot of phone. Okay, so I'm opening up this area. I take my time, and to check my work, I check on the tailbone right here, get softer, and I check over here. It's kind of soft, yeah. So this is the muscles that I would peel for the side. This is the muscles I would take care of for this tip. So you can really feel the difference. If you're feeling like this and you actually feel like, see the motion of the spine or the motion of the sacrum is very smooth, like this. But there's a certain way that it just moves chunky. Like if there's tension in there, the body won't just rock naturally. It'll kind of, it'll just go tuk, 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 like that. And then if you loosen up this area and it's still chunky, there's a fibroid on the other side. So it's almost guaranteed there's a fibroid on the other side. Or you could ask, and they might have taken it out already, and it will have the scar tissue will still cause that tailbone not to move smoothly. So I haven't found any other reason yet. It's always a fibroid. Yeah. Okay, so that's this side. So then I would do the other side, and so now I created a pathway up the kidney channel, spleen, kidney, liver, coming up this way, and like a refined energy work. And you notice like all this movement is all palm energy work. So I get to lay hands at the same time I get to do the massage. So every movement is that laying hands and moving the energy through. And so all the energy changes in here, and so then the energy that comes up from the ground, moves from the ground through the body, gets refined. It doesn't get reckless or anxious or anything like that. And so the Qigong has to go from here to here. So I put my cloth over like this or like this. Yeah, and I'll show you from here. So tailbone and this muscle here first. So one hand always follows and the other hand leads. So like our Bagua, one hand always follows, one hand leads, one follows. So there's always one hand that's supporting, but it's not taking the lead, and one hand's always taking the lead. So what I mean is I wouldn't be pushing both hands at the same time like this. One hand will always be supporting, and the other hand will actually be doing the massage. So the second hand might be doing some massage, but one hand always taking lead. So, like reason is, see you rock the body like this. So you can see the tailbone rocks, yeah, and the low back rocks. So this is kind of fine. But when you pass the low back and you start going to the upper back like this, you see how now there's 2 rocking, there's 3 rocking, and that's not gonna come out so good with the body. So one hand has to support and the other one has to massage. So if I have one hand here over the tailbone, I can do my energy work, but also this hand do the massage, and this one will be supporting. And if I wanted to do like a little bit of the tailbone flexing, I can, yeah? Or if I go like this, I can. One hand would have to take over and the other hand is supporting. But then I wouldn't have this odd, like, this will feel like I'm really like kind of, this is not a good massage. It will feel like it's digging into muscle and it's kind of off track and the body's going in 3 different directions and it's not going to come out good. So when I'm doing this, it's hard to rock the body this way too, but if I have one hand on the tailbone, then it's easy. Yeah. So this movement on the body helps it find center. So when the body moves forward and back like that, it's always finding center. So it will eventually, everything will come here because it's going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it has to come to a stop. Yeah. So everything will refine, but everything will also loosen. So I might have one hand here and it might just be evaluating and flexing, but I told you this muscles is for this part of the tailbone, so that's what I'll be feeling and evaluating as I'm loosening this muscle. So I'll be massaging with my palm. I still engage and then push slightly to the side. But without this other hand, I wouldn't be able to do this massage.
This is more complex.
Oh, no. I'll just show you.
But you don't get the outer edge of the thigh.
Oh yeah, you can. If you peel like this, then you can catch. It's like this. If you go like this, you cannot catch the thigh, right? But if you push this way, then you can. So then you can massage here. So you have to angle the body the way that you want, and then you push, and you can catch every angle of the thigh. Yeah. So if I go like this, I can catch inside like this. Yeah? Or if I go this way, I can catch it. Yeah. So you just have to change the angle of one hand, or you have to change where you start. Like if I start from here, then I can get a different area, or if I start from here, I can get a different area. Yeah. Yeah. But I still push out from my shoulder. Yeah. Yeah. So what's a good exercise, a drill, the starting kind of drill to practice on somebody is you put your hand on the tailbone like this and you get a good kind of leverage, and you find that you have to push the hip into your hand this way. So if you push too much, you only get this top part here. But if you catch it right here, then you can get the sides. And inside here. And you can get the inside of the thigh this way. And here. And then this has to peel. There's a bone right here. You gotta peel the muscle this way. So there's a bone and you gotta peel the muscle this way over it. Yeah.
So that's what you're doing.
Yeah. So I have to take my hands and pull the muscle over the bone, over the femur, and then massage it over the femur this way. So first, it would be a stretch, like just kind of stretching like this, which would be like this. So first I'm just stretching, yeah. Then I want to stretch, especially where there's sciatic and that kind of stuff. So then I want to push upward and as the body's falling, I'm massaging up. So while it's still up in the air, I want to massage it while it's coming down towards me. So instead of like this is kind of loose, huh? I leave it up here and I bounce it so that as it's coming down, so I'm releasing all the tension on the bottom by moving the muscle as it's falling. I lift it and it will lift like that away from the bone. So it doesn't have to be vigorous like every single time kind of, but you want to catch that moment where the muscle's falling and catch it like that. So you're creating the opportunity to lift the muscle away from the bone and the nerve away from the bone. So it can be fast like that, but it would end up really Chinese looking massage. Yeah. And it's really not like tuina. Yeah.
When is this called?
Snake. It's snake tuina. It's a family system of tuina. Yeah. So, but regular tuina is not. It's like wah, 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 like stop. You can have the money. Just let me go. Don't touch me anymore. Yeah. So okay. So that will be all along the femur, all the way to here, about the line of where the gluteus ends, and trace all the way through here. So the way that you hold your hands, you can actually maneuver all around the sacrum and all into these pockets. And so you can see you can maneuver all this pocket without jamming your fingers or your knuckles into any spot. It's always sideways, forward, sideways, backward, engage, and then forward, sideways, back.
That one.
Yeah.
Both of your legs are down.
Oh yeah. This one it would be like this. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But you can do like this if you want. But this would be easier because it wouldn't be any strain on your body. This would give you a little bit of strain. Yeah. So this would be like still your shoulder blades and then your hip. Yeah. So you can do like this, but you'll sweat. Especially because there's a little bit of backlash into your body if you're doing this, but there's no backlash. It just drains straight out if you have one foot back. Yeah. So there's more detail to this kind of movement. This kind of movement, like this, is very short. So these short movements is like somebody's coming in and you block and then you go boom and you hit them short, but they drop right there or they fly back. And that comes from these points here. So these points are the origin of this movement from your body. So your shoulder blades have to be spread out, and your shoulder blade has to be sticking your arm out. Then you engage the muscle, and then from these points the power comes from these points, which is a short movement like this or short like this. Short movement, that's this motion. So all you have to do is from these points, your mind comes from the point and you'll have the power to do that movement.
So like your own.
Yeah, your own. So when you're doing Tai Chi, there's a warding off, a roll back, and then pressing down and pushing forward. So the pushing forward is a fire element, and that's where the power comes from, fire element. And this is the fire element.
So that's what you're using right now.
Yeah. So if you have a pushing down, pressing down power, that's water power. So water is a downward motion. So from here, you're still using your leg and using your shoulder blade, but the pressure comes from here. So if your mind comes from this point, it creates this downward pressure. So downward, sideways, and back pressure. without effort. So you just have to come from the point. So taking somebody's arm and then breaking the arm as you're doing the roll back, you break the arm. That arm break comes from here. And then so massage pressure, the arm break comes, the pressure comes from this point. So if you're constantly pushing down, even if it's with your arm or your whatever it is, or fist, you're pushing downward, always come from here. Then you're always practicing internal Kung Fu and Qigong. If the pressure's always like you're throwing somebody, it's like throwing somebody back or dropping somebody, but every single cycle you have to catch it with this back pressure, points, then you're practicing Kung Fu every second, but the thing's actually timing itself towards you and you're timing yourself with it every time. And so when you're massaging the body, it's like you're preparing so smoothly for a fight. You feel something come and you just boom, and you can generate that power because you did it every second of the day doing that. You know, it's like practicing really internal Kung Fu but actually applying it all the time. So then you never have to, oh, let's do push hands or let's spar, you know. This, your timing, angle and distance is perfect every time because you got to do a good massage. Yeah.
Sparring with Kool-Aid right now.
Yeah, sparring, yeah. So now the tailbone's got to loosen, huh? So I'm going to take the tailbone and make the biggest circle I can first to the range of motion of the tailbone. So this is, it doesn't stretch it that much because the circle is bigger. So I'm just evaluating how stiff it is and you know, whatever this is. So can do this in more detail later, but I follow by using my piezoform. So my piezoform kind of traces the side of the tailbone, but my blade of my hand is here, and it's like a sewing machine. I just kind of scoop with the piezoform. I scoop just under the side of the tailbone each time, not too hard, but just enough as a guide, using it as a guide. So what I want to do is I want to have my arms extended and then have her body bouncing back against me rather than my body going like this or my body moving like this, because this will make me inhale, exhale energy from her body. So I want to be here, and I want the every time it comes back, I want to be pushing it out. So I don't want to really bring my hand back. I want to have my hand out. This hand is out like that. Yeah. So you know, like this would be like what I don't want to get. I want my hand out there, and you see how her body comes back to me but bounces off. So I won't give up my the posture that I'm holding. Yeah. Okay. So eventually this loosens up, and start on this back like this. So I still use my piezoform as a guide, and I follow the tailbone. I follow the spine down, okay, and then I follow the tailbone down. You can see that the bones will start to flex, and then all this fluid will get in between the bones, and the disc will get really soft because it keeps chewing all the disc. So fluid, blood, the disc gets softer, the facets and the vertebrae get to chew on each other a little bit. Everything gets to relax, yeah. And this is a kind of a loose massage here. But when I start tightening up the massage, I want to take up more slack, and then as the body's coming back, I want to apply the pressure. So it will kind of bounce off, but this is adjustments on the spine now. So now it will adjust the spine if the bone is out of place. Yeah. So so the body weight is coming back against my hand, and that means if something's out of place, it will go back in place. So it's a soft adjustment. So I won't do it hard. I do it just enough against the spine so that the spine can realign itself. Yeah. So I'm not trying to crack the spine. I'm trying to push and flex the spine and massage it from the side so that if it is out of alignment, it'll pop back. Yeah. So when we're cracking back and doing that kind of stuff, usually the muscle's still tense, so the muscle will just pull it back in place. So this was working more on the muscle and then eventually on the bone, so this way it'll stay longer. So you see, because I'm standing flat like this is not right. I gotta have my foot back. This way there's no give back into my body. You see here, my body's actually taking some of it each time, and then all this heat's gonna start building up. So it's not so good. So warding off motion is from the Mingmen, this point here, where the navel is on the other side, and any kind of pushing exercise like this comes from the Mingmen. Yeah. So if your mind comes from the Mingmen and extends through this movement, this is warding off or heaven energy. Yeah.
So that's different from
Yeah.
what you said earlier about fire.
Yeah. So when in the internal Kung Fu, when you find the Mingmen power, the power comes from the Mingmen. This expansive power is the first foundation. So once you can connect to that power, all actions are supported by the power of heaven. So this is almost like a religion, yeah? All actions supported by the power of heaven. When you find heaven, like expansive, pushing out, buoyant energy, yawning kind of energy is heaven, but not straight. It's always straight, engage, forward, sideways, back. That's the power. Oh. So then from this movement, then this power supports the next power. So heaven will support earth, heaven support fire, heaven supports water. Yeah? So then, so from the Mingmen power, the Mingmen supports the center of the spine to press down, and the Mingmen supports these are called the Jiaji points along the back to do this motion. So heaven energy supports that energy, and that's kind of what comes out of your shoulder blade and out of your hip is a supporting heaven energy. So the once your body kind of acclimates to that heaven energy, that body kind of posturing is what supports every other massage technique. So this you can see this is like really kind of martial art massage, but it's a qigong massage, and it's training, like not just training for you, but it trains the body. You know, they're doing qigong because you're doing qigong on their body. Their body is doing qigong. So if we did all those palms to do the spine, and we're doing this massage to the spine, it would do the same thing, but this is passive, and doing the qigong is more active. Yeah. So this is the way. And when we're getting to this part here, this is where I said things start to move in odd positions. So one hand will be supporting here, other hand will catch. So I might crawl my hand along here, along this edge of this muscle, or I might put both hands together like this and make it more broad. Then the whole body will, the rocking is okay this way, rocking is okay this way, and this is the lead hand here, but this is the lead hand here, but it's still giving the body enough rocking motion. Or I can have one hand here, but I take the muscle this way and I peel it away from the spine. And then so the more I can accelerate it by taking up the slack more, and just as it's coming back towards me, I move. And then what you do is through the massage there's a breathing in through the top of the head and then out through the third eye. So as you're doing this kind of movement, especially like when it starts spiraling like this through the spine, all that energy work you're doing with your hands, you're breathing through here, the energy that's inside of the tailbone will naturally wake up, and then this part will wake up, and that energy will start to spiral like this, like a snake. And so when you're doing these movements, you're breathing out the third eye, and you're just adding to that energy. So as your hands are spiraling like this, the energy starts to spiral. Not really fast, but just moving. And this massage will make the person high. They feel like, you know, wow, everything's clear, high, happy, because the energy is just spinning through the spine. So this is really like it's like a Kundalini. It's a Kundalini massage. But it's taking into account where it moves through, what it has to deal with as it moves through the spine, and it's accounting for that so that it's preparing the path. And so this, massage can go higher like this. It can go up, and it can go up to here. If your hand's skillful enough, you take the slack up and just a little bit as you're moving, or this way, as you're moving. So you can get the also this way, away from the spine, this way, like this here. So you're fitting your hand in such a way you're going to engage and then push a little bit, engage and then push a little bit, but not against the spine. Just take up the slack and push. So each time you're massaging like this, you're...
So when you do that with your left hand, where's your right hand?
Right hand is making sure that the rocking is even.
Okay,
So this hand's supporting. So it's going to support like this, just so that there's no conflicting rocking. And it also always feeds the tailbone, or it feeds the low back. So the kidneys are one of the main things that go wrong, and the kidney energy. So having the hand anywhere around here charges up the kidneys, and the kidney energy is what makes the trapezius muscle tight and the psoas muscle tight. And when the psoas muscle gets tight, this low back muscle gets tight, the quadratus and the other back muscles get really tight. So those two muscles, the psoas and the trapezius, contribute to all that low back trouble, and it tightens up everything inside there, and it also keeps you from doing your massage correctly. So if it crunches down like this and you're doing massage, you're actually taking it into your shoulders, and you're taking it into your groin every time you do the massage. But if you're stretching like this, then you're curing that for yourself while you're doing the movement. So it's a very good massage. But the breathing, you gotta coordinate the breathing, and then you'll notice everything is palm healing, and breathing into the spine when you're moving, and so if we're doing like classes where we're trying to do on each other, then we would take a section at a time, and I would just show one section. So if we do that, maybe the next time we can take a section and take partners and try. But this is a really good massage. It doesn't look like a Chinese massage at all, huh? I don't know if you ever got Chinese massage, but don't do it. Just have your friend do it and just watch.
It's like a shiatsu.
Oh, I'll show you guys there's on YouTube where there's real tuina on YouTube, but you wouldn't ever want tuina. If you're not familiar with massage, you figure, it's supposed to hurt a little bit, right? And be a little uncomfortable, but wow, sometimes they're just leaning on you like this and breathing on your back, and they're blowing in your head. And these postures supposed to be a certain way so that you don't breathe out your nose and breathe onto the person. So like sometimes you be and then it goes on their back, yeah, and their shoulder, and you think, oh, they touched my back, it touched my back. And so every part of the massage there, they know already, they're accounting for, don't do this, don't do that, you know, make sure you stay away from here. And like inside here, this area, we use a towel for grip. So I was taking the towel off so you can see, but it's a lot harder to do without the towel. There's a lot more grip with the towel. So even here, you know, you have to turn your hand. When you get closer to the groin, you have to turn your hand because your thumb is here. So you can't be like jamming somebody with your thumb and their muscle gonna relax, huh?
Yeah.
But you also have to catch with your over the edge of the hand and the piezoform. You have to catch where the psoas attaches to the femur. So you gotta at least stretch some of that muscle. So it doesn't have to come way up, but you have to sort of feel like, oh, there's the tension, and then you try to get a little bit behind it and stretch it a little bit, and you can feel like, oh yeah, there's where the psoas comes into the groin and it attaches to the head of the femur. So it's little things you can find like that. Yeah, that's a good kind of overview, huh? But yeah, this is a very good massage, and you can see everything kind of evaluates so that you know what to look for on the way up here, and it deals with whatever has to do with here. So choosing this kind of massage to do, this is a lot for kidney, psoas, you know, the trapezius and tailbone problem, low back problem, tight legs or sciatic, yeah. And so sciatic is, you know, you gotta do a lot of these motion, a lot of this one and a lot of this one here for sciatic. And if the head of the femur is right here, so it's actually the leg bone as it goes through, huh? So if I take the leg like this and I just move it a little bit, just a little bit outward, when you put your hand on the head of the femur and you move the leg like this, then I push along the head of the femur like this, yeah? So I'm pushing like this, and then I push like this, yeah? As I move the leg, then I'm actually cleaning, it's like cleaning the femur. But anything that's attached to the femur, or adhered to the femur or pinching around the femur will loosen up. So I actually just get around the ball of it, yeah, and move this way. When I bring the foot towards me, I push a little bit more along the femur, so I'm cleaning the surface of it, and I push this way. Yeah, push this way, yeah. And even now forward like this, I push. When I pull back, I push, yeah. And I just trace it. So this way you kind of get to know the femur. This way. And then the relationship with the femur is important because that's your where you get your foundation energy, yeah? So, yeah, so knowing the femur by using your fingers around it and using your fingers along the femur, especially here, whether it be sciatic, pushing just ahead of it, just around, and then moving the leg, yeah? Taking your time like this will really open up all the tension around it. And then there's also if you take your thumbs like this and you put your thumbs in this kind of configurations where it's not a direct thumb straight into the side but broad by using two thumbs and bunching the muscle up, so that if you bunch the muscle up you get a broad stroke where you can massage like this, but it's not penetrating into it's not jabbing the hip. But you can get a really good loosening, especially this front right here, from underneath here, yeah. So that would be like right right here, this front corner gets very tight, and then that's what's gonna make this tight, and here really tight. If you ever try hiking and then you gotta hike another mile, but you know, like, oh, my leg's getting sore, but if I keep going, I'll get there by sunset or something. And then these muscles get really start pushing it, huh? And that's because this is where the tension comes. After it goes here, 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 then it's gonna be here, where the shin splints are gonna be. Yeah.
That's the classic 3 mile point.
Yeah. Oh, 3 Mile Point. Yeah, it's over here. Yeah. 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 So yeah, so that's where it's gonna go. So if you can catch it from this side like that, you can loosen it up.
Hurt when you go to the front.
If you don't, yeah, if you go with one thumb, but if you go with two thumb, is broad, so you can massage it and you're meeting it, and then you spearing it, kind of like, you know, you engaging and then forward, sideways, back. But if you go with one thumb, it'll bruise. If you go two thumb and you scrunch the muscle together and then go in, it's different. You're trying to broaden the movement without just like jabbing in there, and you're moving with the muscle. So it's kind of you gotta train yourself to do it, but it's good. And the head of the femur is like this, huh? So there's a actual bone that goes in there, but you can use that bone to massage inside the hip. So like if I hold the bone like this, then when I move, I can use like this. I can use the body and the bone, and use the bone to massage the inside of the hip by massaging like this. Yeah. So you find the angle, and then you just move the body against it, or but you brace both sides so you can use, and then it will push and move around, and you just vibrate it like that, and it will just start massaging the inside of the hip. But it's each one is like a meditation. So if you take like one exercise like that and you just try it, you can get it. It's just that you got to know what the game is, yeah, what you're meditating on. But that way you really understand the femur and the shape of it, and what it does in there, what it catches on normally.
So you can actually tell?
Yeah, because you gotta get a rhythm going. So it's a little bit like this. You're getting a rhythm going inside. So it takes a little tuning in, but then so then you'll get this small movement, and then you can kind of catch the friction and put a little bit more. But you don't need any more friction than that. And but you get to really know that. So it's like a Tai Chi master they catch the kick, and then they go whap, and they dislocate the bone in the hip. That's because they know the hip so well. If you're treating a couple patients a day and you're working like that every day, you really get to know those bones. So when you grab the leg, you just go like whap, and the hip will pop out. I always see like those kind of Tai Chi master, huh? They're like, oh, he's not giving up, I'm gonna have to dislocate something. And then they say, oh, I'm sorry, I think I overdid it. Pack, and then they put it back. Pack. That's so that all that Kung Fu knowledge, and the internal Kung Fu knowledge, and the internal Kung Fu refined movements all come from massage. So it's all passed in the Chinese, the family style of massage. But the Chinese hospital massage is not going to help anything. You're just like, boom, boom. You leave bruised, pinched, and a lot of the massage that was passed on in Hawaii is family systems of massage, but they got distorted, so they get painful. They just start like, oh, and you go, ah, and they tell you, breathe. You cannot move, just breathe. And you have to just stay there crying and writhing, or they like jamming their finger in there. But it wasn't like that in the beginning. It's just there wasn't enough supervision, and not enough technique, and then also influence from other things like trigger point therapy, influences like, so when we were young, I would do the ninjutsu, and the ninjutsu is very different. But then I would see Goju karate, then I see Shorinji Kempo and Aikido, and I would think, oh, that's how I'm supposed to do it, and it would ruin my ninjutsu techniques because the teacher would say that's not how to do it. But I'm thinking, no, I saw it in this other class, that's how to do it, and it ruined me for years because I'm thinking, oh, that's how. Then when I finally relax and the teacher said I was wrong all that time. Oh, then I get it. Then I try it, like, oh, it's so different. It's so different. But I was sure that I had done my research and I knew what it was supposed to look like because I saw the Shorinji Kempo or the Aikido, and it's completely opposite, but it works so much better. If I had listened to the teacher way back then, I would be so much more talented, but but massage is like that too. If you learn Raofing, you learn trigger point, if you learn Swedish, then it's going to influence what you're referencing when you're learning. So it can ruin your technique or it can enhance your technique, but it depends, like, what you're seeing, huh? Yeah.
If it's that gentle, can you get into the muscle?
Yeah, can get right to the bone, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you can get right to the bone. You actually have to back off a little bit because it's really easy to get in there. So people think it has to hurt, like really you can push harder, but you don't have to. It's got to engage the heart of the leg and then peel off to the side. But it looks really gentle. It is gentle, yeah. And it works really well. It's really good. So some of the palm techniques is they just put their palm like either on the tailbone or on the sides here. The other hand would go here or off on the side of the shoulder like this. But then the energy would reset the kidneys, yeah, and wherever the kidneys go to. So the kidneys are fear, anxiety, and fear and anxiety, dread, deadlines all give that kind of fears, anxieties. So that's what gets reset in these movements. So sometimes there's a slight traction where you're kind of catching the body like that and catching the body like this, stretching it a little bit. So it's still engaging and then pushing forward, sideways, and back, but there's no movement. But a lot of energy starts moving because of the friction. So to me, there still is movement. It's just my hand not moving, but it's engaging the friction and it's just keeping the friction. And so a lot of energy starts releasing like that. And I still use the same shoulder blade and I use the same leg, and then all the energy starts flowing. Yeah. So catching here, and then over the tailbone like this. So over the spine here, and then catching this way and this way, and then switching on the other side like that. Yeah. So sometimes it looks static, but it's still something dynamic is happening. And sometimes it looks really dynamic, but you're catching the muscle right where you want it, and you just keep working on that place until it relaxes, goes to the next. So it really gets a good grip on certain places and it loosens up. A lot of energy move.
So you can align the spine.
Yeah. It aligns better than getting chiropractic because it'll go back after the chiropractor because they don't always relax the muscle. So
it pulls back out of alignment.
Yeah. So like Bagua children, they make the children sleep on boards and then they put a cage of like wood, grid of wood right over them so they sleep flat so the spine grows straight if possible. And then when we look at the spine, we're looking at, these muscles are tense here and then they kind of bulge up and that's why the spine is crooked. But we don't look at, spine is crooked. We look at the spine is crooked because these muscles are doing this, because the muscle's doing that. But that's why it engages the muscle and it takes the time to release the muscle so the spine can start moving back into place. But we're looking at when the wind blows, it affects the tree. As the tree grows, the tree bends because the wind is constantly blowing. So we look at the body, the muscles are constantly pulling, so then the spine starts to turn, or the spine starts to bulge, or so we don't blame the spine, we blame the muscle, and then the position of the legs, and what's happening to the spine. So lots of time we got to get x-ray to figure out what's wrong. So when they x-ray, they'll show, oh, your spine is smashed together, oh, the disc is very thin, and your disc is bulging, yeah, or in the front the nerves are pinching, and the picture is really clear, but we don't look at the muscle. So we look at the bones, and so it looks like, wow, your disc is so small, and the disc is bulging, and the nerves are pinching. You gotta operate, yeah. But if we thinking, oh, the muscles are doing that, if the muscles smash all the disc together, then the disc doesn't breathe, so it will smash like that, and the muscles are pulling. But if the muscle relaxes, the fluid will go back in there, the disc might reanimate. But there would have to be a time that the disc could do that, huh? So we would need an inversion table, or we'd need massage, or we'd need something. But if we looked at the body the opposite way, like from the muscle, then we can see, oh, if these muscles are pulling down like this, then it would pinch the nerves in the front, but it would bulge the disc in the back, and it would smash the spine together, and the disc would obviously look smaller, and the spine would be closer together. But if we release the psoas, then all that will go away. But we have to keep releasing the psoas until the psoas can stay the way it is, and we have to make the space in the spine. So it's not so easy, but the diagnosis is probably more accurate, you know. So but it would probably need like a x-ray or like a really good, you know, tuina person to say, oh yeah, this is too close together, spine is too close. But that snapshot of the spine, you could look at it so many different ways, huh? Like, that's it, you're stuck, or you need surgery, or you need fluid and blood inside there. But even then, it's how do we get fluid and blood inside? The bones are already, you know, so tight, yeah. But if you look at the muscle, then you can figure out, oh, if we undo that muscle, it's gonna. But you have to know the action of the muscle, yeah. So it takes a little bit, you know, logic to figure out that kind of thing. But yeah, it makes everything fixable that way. So then something like, wow, the bones are kind of close together. That looks like a doom already, yeah. But it's not doom. You can actually gotta put essential fatty acid, can have some calcium, gotta, you know, have more blood, and some space, either massage or inversion table, and then it will heal up and release the locked muscle. But
Is this the same theory like when we do the exercises?
yeah,
You stretch the muscle and get the kinks out.
yeah.
Things can flow through.
Yeah, so this is like manually doing our qigong. Yeah, so if you look at our qigong, it'll look like this actually. It's just sometimes if you do it for somebody, it's nicer how you can relax, and you know, when you're all beat up. I don't know if you tried doing this when you get sciatic, but if you have sciatic pulling in your groin or the back, and you do this, oh, you don't want to do it, because it hurts all the way through the body, and you're like, oh, maybe somebody could do this for me, it would be nice, you know. And this is the massage. So this is the back part, but there's a front part and everything. But I'll show it in pieces where you guys can practice with each other. Yeah.
Looks like the door is opening.
Yeah, that means there's people here. Yeah, I wonder. Oh, it's not that late at night, huh? It could be they're resetting the circuit breaker for me. I'm not sure.
Maybe the wind or something.
Yeah, the electricity went off on some, so yeah. Yeah. And you can see here, if when the legs just lay flat like that, if the toes go in, then the the abdomen over here is tighter, and over here is tighter. Yeah. If the back was tighter and the back pulled a lot, then the heels would be in like this more, because this would be tight. Yeah. But because the abdomen is more tight, and the groin area and the abdomen's more tight, then the toes go like that. Yeah? So even face up, the toes will go in like this, or the toes will go out. So if the back is stiff, the toes will go like this. If the abdomen's stiff, the toes will come in naturally. Yeah. So this shows you a nice diagnostics for that. And then for our Qigong, we have other diagnostic, but it makes your Kung Fu really good. Like when you see the person, you already know, like, oh, how are they going to fight with all that wrong with them, you know? Are just going to exploit all that stuff, and they're not going to be able to do anything. The most natural things to go wrong in people in stressful city like Honolulu is the adductor muscle, which is the muscle that pulls friction inward like this. So when you put, it's like sweeping something with your leg, this kind of movement. Yeah, adductor. Yeah, it's on the inside, pulls in. Yeah, and then the outside here, gluteus medius, pushes up or pushes away, and that's that muscle. Then the gluteus maximus, the one that pushes back like this, and then the one that turns your knee out like that, piriformis. Those are all stabilizing muscles. So those are affected by judgment, criticism, comparison, perfectionist. It's like an allergy to perfection. Yeah. So the funny saying is, perfectionist. Being a perfectionist doesn't make you perfect. It makes you a perfectionist. But that's what really sets these muscles into a tightened. It goes into a lock, and it doesn't release, but it doesn't work either. So that means all those muscles would be weak, but they would still be locked up. And those are the muscles that people kick and do all kinds of kung fu with. So if you can see, oh, those muscles aren't working, ooh, how are they gonna fight like that, you know? But, then it's easy. The kick comes and you just grab the kick, because you know there's not enough strength to do the kick. Yeah, and and the psoas and the trapezius and the iliacus muscle is the other set from. So the gluteus maximus, medius, piriformis, and adductor, those four muscle, is the pericardium. It's the heart protector. So perfectionist and heart protector kind of go together. Yeah, if you're feeling judged by yourself or by others, if you feel criticized by yourself or others, then it affects the guarding of your heart or the protection of your heart. So your heart gets affected, and then that's what acts on those muscles. So all the stability will go away, and all the weakness will come. So that means there's no kicking like this, and there's no firm stance, and there's no sweeps, and there's no back kicks, and there's no like crescent kind of kicks. Yeah, because all those muscles would be they'll be sabotaged. Yeah, and then the kidney would control trapezius, and then in the front the psoas and the iliacus muscle around the back, iliac psoas muscle. So that will control your ability to stand like this. It will pull you down. It will bend the knees. It will pull the shoulders and the neck, and it makes a fetal position. So this is a fetal position, and this is the fetal position when people are walking around like that. So when you wake up in the morning and it feels like this, and then you got to use the back muscles to right yourself and try to stretch. And if you can get it controlling shares, it goes pop, and then you can walk around for a couple hours. But if you wake up in the morning and your back is out, even if you can put it back in, you know that these are the muscles pulling downward to the point your knees got to bend, and then your from here to here is pulling. That means for us that all the neck bones are pulling together and all the low back muscles are pushing together, and it's so tight that it feels like this. Yeah. If the spleen goes out, all the rib cage will smash together too, all the spine and the rib cage. So it's middle and lower trapezius muscles will smash all the whole rib cage. So if you have kidneys out and spleen out, your whole spine smashing together, you're gonna die of that. So spleen would be worry, obsession, contemplation, study, just thinking too much. So you'll see people with anxiety, fears about the future, fears like, oh, what if this happened? What if that happened? Oh no, I don't want to do this, whatever. And then they have the obsession too, yeah? That means the whole spine smashing together, every disc and every nerve feeding out to the muscle and feeding out to the organs. Every nerve and every spine is smashing. That would look incurable, huh? But you have to reset the kidney and the spleen. But you have to also stop them from obsessing and anxiety so much. That's not easy to stop. Yeah. But
this is 0 point at the heart. And
there's a 0 point at the heart.
There's points all along the spine that where energy comes out.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
are 0 points.
Yeah. So each point, like the center of the chest is a 0 point, the Ming Men is a 0 point, the Jiaji points are 0 point, and you're actually trying to access power from those points as you're doing your technique. So you have actually like 13 points that you can try to access 0. So once you can grab one point and the point starts to put out, then easy to do all the other points. But there's a similarity, there's a common feeling to all the points that feels like 0 point, but it's a different side of a sphere, so you're getting a different kind of power because you're accessing it from a different place. This, like they say, all the paths lead to the top of the mountain, so it's from different sides of the mountain, so you can feel the power is different, but there's a real similar feeling to every one of them that joins them together.
What you're looking for.
Yeah. And so all our thunder dances uses those points, huh? And then the thunder dances become the push hands, and all those things become the tuina. And so it's all joined together like that. So the thunder dances practice the push hands and timing, angle, and distance. You can put full power and full range in the dances. And then on the body, you have to correctly engage, and you have to use the timing, angle, and distance correctly. And you have to call, and that situation calls the energy out of your body. So it's harder to call the energy out during the dances because you're not really doing anything, you're just dancing, huh? So it can flow out, but it's not flowing out with any purpose. In here, you're trying to do something, you're trying to help somebody, so it will call the energy out of you. So you'll be doing it for real, yeah? In the form, it's like an expression. The dances, it comes out as an expression, but it's however you feel, yeah? This way you're actually engaging with something. So like in the martial arts, people can practice sparring and they can practice do something on each other, but it's practice. It's not really going to call out that energy. If they're fighting, it's going to call out the energy, but how often can you fight? You cannot fight every day, huh? Yeah, so that makes martial artists all talk because they hardly ever actually do it. They usually that's why I always joking, oh, you come here, punch me. Not yet, when I say, anytime you're ready, right here with that hand. And come at me like you mean it, huh? And then it always looks amazing, huh? Like, oh, sensei's so amazing. Do you see how he took care of that guy? After he punched him right there with that hand, when I say, anytime you're ready. That looked real, but it's not real. so that the energy that gets called out will never really come out. But in a massage, no matter how gentle, it will always come out. Because you really have to do something. You're putting yourself on the spot, yeah. And in martial arts, very little practice is putting yourself on the spot. And if you can do something in the martial arts, they say if you can do it slow, or if you can't do it slow, then you can't do it fast, yeah. That's a massage. If you can do it slowly and the energy comes out, you can do it fast and the energy will come out. Yeah.
The amount of pressure, would it be different for
Yeah.
Kule, say, as to if you're doing
Oh,
Koa?
yeah. It's still the same on Koa. So I did massage Koa, but yeah, you gotta take the slack up and then move from where you take up the slack. That's all it is. Yeah. So the bones still kind of move the same. It's just deeper in. Gotta go like need a bigger needle. Yeah. Like Ko'ole is there's already bone, yeah. And then Koa is like I gotta get through like all this muscle, and he's actually all muscle. His whole body's muscle, but there's a lot of muscle, so you gotta get in there. And there's only so much that you can take up slack. So once you get through the muscle, the slack is taken up, and you move from there. So when I hit him, it's the same. Like I pick up the slack and then I hit him, then it really hurts, yeah. But if I just hit, it goes to the muscle and the muscle takes the shock. So I just take up all the slack in the muscle and then I hit. So for this is the same. You always look for the core or the heart of the body. Then you take up the slack and then you move. So when you hit somebody, you take up all the slack and then you hit their spine, or you hit the core of their body from where you are, and then there's no shock absorber, yeah. So you take away all the shock absorber, then you hit. So at the moment you hit, there's nothing that's going to take the shock. You already take up all the shock. Yeah. So yeah, you understand? Like if he has all the muscle or fat, then you push into it until you feel straight to the spine and there's no more give. Then you hit. Yeah. Then they go flying. Yeah. But more muscle and fat. If you just hit that, nothing's happening. Yeah. So what's interesting is all muscle have layers of fascia over it, which is very tough, like steel. And then muscle doesn't have any shape of its own. The fascia over it determines its shape. So like if we make a shape like this, then the muscle can resist against the shape and it will tense, yeah? If we make the muscle like this, then we'll resist against it and the muscle will move. So we extend the arm out, the muscle moves. But it's because of the fascia around it that determines the shape. If we go like this, it's determining that shape. So when you hit muscle, the muscle tenses and the muscle acts like a shock absorber. So you hit just muscle like that and it'll go wow. And then the muscle underneath gets to resist against the fascia as you're hitting it, and it makes a shock absorber. But you take your hand and you go into the muscle and you twist the fascia, then you control the fascia. Then when you hit, when they resist with their body, they go flying. And that's what's happening here. See? So I use the fascia against them, yeah. So when they do tense, they'll fly away from me. Yeah? So this is what's happening this way. Every time she comes back at me, I'm controlling the fascia. So when she tenses, she's going to end up bouncing away. Yeah? And so that's how we hit people, is we just make sure that we're controlling the fascia in the muscle.
So that's what you do when you throw people too?
Yeah, when you throw people, you take up all the slack, yeah. Yeah. It's interesting, yeah. It's but it still has to do with healing, yeah. The only way to get good at it is to know the body like that, practice healing. Yeah. When it falls in sync that much, it makes it really easy to practice martial art by healing somebody.
So, you know that I told you
Yeah.
video a long time ago.
Yeah.
So all of that technique was doing this.
Yeah, I was doing soul
Take the
tie.
slack away, and
Yeah.
then-
Yeah, you got to take the slack out of the body, and you got to control the fascia so that you're controlling the center. Yeah. So when the center tries to engage back with the muscle, they're displaced already. Yeah. It's a really good concept. It's a really good concept. Yeah.
If you can actually use it.
Yeah.
But I don't
That's the
think-
hard part.
I don't
Like,
think that's-
yeah, you can see like in this kind of massage, you're meditating, but timing, angle, distance, and then the same, just the right amount of force is being generated from internal, and you're doing it over and over and over and over, and you gotta move through the body. Now, lumi, you have to be stepping and moving, and there's a lot of footwork, and so that makes it even more skillful because your footwork has to keep the slack no matter what, and you gotta move the whole body and change the height of the table. But it's lumi is harder because you have to keep a 90-degree angle to the bone or to the core, and you have to you gotta squeeze with your you gotta squeeze this way, you gotta squeeze this way and downward at the same time. So the angle down on the body, the angle into the body, and the angle into the body is all three angles at the same time. Then you gotta be moving, and then you gotta turn and you have to keep the same pressure on the body, and the body's not same everywhere, so you have to change the pressure to keep the constant pressure. But that's makes effortless kind of kung fu throwing people around, because you're just keeping the same pressure all the time, and then all of a sudden you change it and you go flying. Yeah, and this is a good, today is good to see an overview of the concepts and then how it relates to martial arts, because this would make a lot more sense than martial arts. I like martial arts, but this is how I practice it, to really use it on somebody if I want to use it on somebody. What makes me really good at martial art is either I'm practicing with girls because the girls have more technique, more precision, and they never muscle. So when they learn something, they never forget, and they don't let you go. Like if you slack, you lose, because they know that once they got this power, they don't ever forget where their power comes from. And so a guy will always go for muscling it when they get lazy, and at that moment you can catch them. So I always practice with girls, especially push hands, and then I always work on the body. Even if I can do energy work, I rather do energy work and work on the body at the same time. Even doing corrections and muscle tests and correction type of stuff, I do it while I'm working on the body, because I'll lose they'll get more out of it and I'll get more out of it. But if I get lazy, then I get less out of it, and I would waste my day. And this way I can practice internal kung fu all day if I want to. So this is from Wu Family System. Wu Family is the advisors to Genghis Khan and Kublai Khan. So you can see the knowledge that they have. The concepts that they have is very different from regular martial arts and regular healing. It's very technical and very scientific and very old. You can tell, that kind of knowledge is old. It's not, somebody didn't just make it up and name it themselves. It's really old knowledge, and there's a lot of experience passed down in the movements. Yeah.
Can you make someone very strong, like King Kamehameha?
Oh, make them strong.
I mean, if you do
Yeah.
this all day or something.
Yeah, if you do it all day, you get really strong, because I'm sure he had technique too, that stuff is passed in their bloodline too. The guy that came, there's a guy named Uncle David that works in the clubs here, and then he came for treatment, and he can take a quarter and he rips the quarter in half, but it's not he's strong. He's strong like a coconut crab. His hands look like it's strong. But when you look at the way he rips the quarter, it's not just muscle. There's energy moving and vibrating, and he tears the quarter, and he can take the lug off of the bus. You know the bus tire?
Yeah.
He takes the nut off of the bus tire, and he takes a nickel and he rubs the face off the nickel, and he can snap a dime in half.
Wow.
But what was the funniest thing is he's so superstitious. When he came, he's talking on the phone to the guy who recommended he come in, and the guy's saying, "You okay?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm scared, you know." He said, "Guy, what kind of guy is this?" He says, "Well, this guy's a kung fu master. He'll kill you, you know. You want me to come with you?" And I nod my head like, he said, "He can't come help you." He goes, "Oh, bro, you cannot come help me." He says, "Okay, you're on your own. I'm sorry, yo. You're on your own. Sorry, you gotta be there by yourself." He goes, "You're gonna take away my power?" I said, "You wanna see me take away your power? I'll give it back." So I take it away. And he goes, "Oh no." He said, "You can just take away somebody's strength like that?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Wow." So I take his pulses. And I'm taking his pulses, and he's sitting there like this, like. And then I start writing stuff down, and he goes, "Wow, I haven't felt this good in years. This has been like 10, 20 years since I felt this good. Oh, you for real?" I said, "Oh, I just taking your pulses." I didn't start yet. Yeah. But I guess that was good too. But that guy, he got it from his bloodline. That strength he got from his bloodline. Then he was trained by his grandfather. Yeah. So it's lua to them. It's lua, but it's that strength is passed in their bloodline, and from getting punched, they pass the like some magnetic energy. Yeah. So when you get hit, you get stronger from getting hit. The muscles get smarter, and for martial arts we call that shokke. It's called shokke. It's called to eat somebody's technique. So like I was the person that took all the falls and all the punches. So once I can take the punch or take the fall, my body knows the technique, and I can pass the technique. I could get it and get better at it by my whole nervous system knowing the technique. So that's called shokke. It's called eat the technique. So that's kind of what happens, but it's passed with this electrical charge when you get hit. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you have any question? No? That's good for today, huh? We can always take a piece of it and practice it later, another day. Yeah. But we only did one side of her body, so.
Yeah.
I gotta do a little bit on the other side, but it's not camera angle. It's like Bruce Lee, yeah? Careful to not disturb any camera angle. Yeah. Yeah, 20 years with camera angles, I sacrificed the patient for camera angle. Yeah. So you know all the people that filmed for me before, they taught me